Welcome to Skate Story. Today is one of those days I never thought would actually arrive, especially not this year, although just barely this year. Skate Story is out right now, PC and PS5, and it is glorious. I don't know much about skateboarding, but this game right here digs straight into the heart of this sport, this art form, and made me feel like I belonged. It transported me through 9 layers of the underworld with just my trusty board and a big dream: devour every moon and escape. Skating in this game feels so good. The underworld itself is like this big dreamy soup, a mixture of small open cityscapes, fast-paced corridor sections, and a bunch more tougher to describe places and feelings. The story is also layered. There's the easy enough to follow surface level stuff, but everyone seems to also be speaking in riddles and poems and furious scribblings on scraps of paper whose exact meaning I have yet to uncover. Skate Story isn't your average skating game, and today I'd like to tell you all a few of the reasons why I love it so much. Gameplay will be kept to the first few hours and locations, but feel free to just listen if you want to see these places for yourself with a fresh eye. First big thing I'd like to get out of the way, this is a linear game. There's no traveling back to old areas once you move through them, and once you reach the game's end, you'll have to start a new save and clear all your progress if you want to go back and do something again, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I played through the game for the first time like a normal person in about 10 hours, and now I'm on my second playthrough looking for secrets and Easter eggs and any other weird stuff I can find, so keep an eye out for another video later this week that dives into all that stuff. I'm not sure if the Steam demo will still be up after the game's launch. I hope it is, but if you've played it, then you'll already have a good sense of Skate Story's general structure. You'll get some story bits at the beginning of each chapter to set the scene, and then comes some sort of tutorial or new set of tricks. The game does an excellent job at pacing all this out and incorporating new moves like 180s or grinds into their respective chapters. As someone who felt like they didn't fully grasp all the controls by the end of the demo, I can assure you that you'll get more comfortable in chapters 2 and 3, especially when the zones open up more and you have more room to play around. These open zones were my favorite part of the game. They're usually filled with some weird characters who give you even weirder tasks like chasing down the devil's laundry or collecting some familiar looking floating letters. There aren't really any side quests, but I did find myself getting pretty distracted from the main story anyways by coming up with my own goals, like reach a certain hard to get to area or trying to pull off a tough string of tricks. As its name implies, Skate Story does go heavy on the story, but when you're in these areas, you're free to goof off for as long as you'd like before getting back to the main story. These chill, sprawling sections are contrasted by these tight, fast-paced portal gauntlet sections, which can make you feel like a badass skating god just as easily as they can make you feel like a complete failure. But the penalty for failing is pretty much non-existent. Yes, you may shatter into a million pieces, but you'll get back up just as quickly and get right back into the flow of things. And when you do, that feeling of speed is amazing. Whizzing by obstacles, jumping over ledges, pulling a few tricks along the way as you cross over into the next portal, it's pure magic. Skate Story has a lot of moments of magic, which are greatly enhanced by the phenomenal soundtrack by Blood Cultures and John Fio. You've been hearing some of their tracks in the background of this video, and you'll definitely be vibing along to all of them in the game. Some of the more spirited tracks and that intense flowy skating gameplay eventually all come together at the end of each chapter in some extremely memorable boss fights against very large celestial objects. Generally speaking, you'll have to rack up a bit of a combo and end it by stomping your board into the ground to deal damage, but there are some pretty fun variations on this formula that I won't spoil here. But the boss fights are cool, and I wouldn't be too worried about the time limits. They're pretty generous, and the only time I ever failed and had to start again was during the very last fight. If you ever do need a breather, you can teleport back to the Skater's Dream at any point, which is a little hub area in the middle of nowhere that contains a list of the tricks that you've mastered, a place to customize your board, some souvenirs from your journey, and a tank containing the contents of your stomach, which solely consists of the moons you've devoured up to that point. Skate Story isn't your average skating game, and it isn't afraid to be profound and mystical and maybe go over my head a bit with its writing at some points, but what can I say? I'm more of a visual person, that's why I make videos. Even if you're like me and tend to focus on gameplay more than story, I'd encourage you to take your time with the dialogue and enjoy each and every cutscene you watch. I found that after my first night with the game, where I played for probably 3 or 4 hours straight, the rest of the journey was best experienced chapter by chapter. Just like the moons in the skater's stomach, there's a lot to digest and think about, and the ending sequence had some hard-hitting moments that made the journey so worth it. Seriously, I wish I could show you just like a 3-second clip from the very last scene because it is something else, but I'll save that for another video. In case you couldn't tell, I love this game. Everything it does, it goes all in with, from the poetry to the boss fights, and it caused me to go through just about the full spectrum of human emotions. So as I finish up my second playthrough and the inevitable future videos that stem from it, I'd encourage anyone who's made it this far to take the plunge and go play Skate Story for yourself. What are you waiting for?